We're always trying to be more expressive on the double bass, and this can feel like such a barrier sometimes, but I have some exercises that I have been working on that have really helped to expand my capacities. So if you want to learn how to play more expressively on the double bass with the bow, this video is for you. I'm going to play this whole video on the Coda Bow Marquee. Great bow, and they sent it to me to check out. Link in the description. First of all, there's an overall philosophy that I think you need to take when you're trying to develop your expressivity or take it to the next level. And it's something that Alex Hanna, the principal bassist of the Chicago Symphony, told me once, which is never practice, always perform. And if you think about that for a little bit, everything you do on the instrument can and maybe should be expressive. From the open D that I start almost every day with to the G, how can you make that even more beautiful? How can you think about the beginning of the note, the middle of the note, the end of the note, all those good things that go into thinking about articulation and phrasing? Just having that attitude of everything you do is a performance, and everything you do is going to make you better or worse or give you some sort of hang up. Not to put too much pressure on all your practicing, but just really having a sense of stakes as you're practicing, I think can be really helpful. Even if you only have 5 or 10 minutes, and I've done a whole video about when I don't have much time, what I think about, just making sure that you're thinking about making a beautiful sound and trying to make something a little bit better than it was yesterday. So I've got a whole series of exercises that I've been doing since high school. I learned from the wonderful Jeff Bradisich. I put them into a PDF that you can download. That is linked in the description below. But before we even start those, we're just going to do a simple long tone exercise I have also been doing since high school. Probably got it from Jeff Bradisich. I'm just going to take my metronome and put it on 60. I'm going to start by playing long tones on the open string, starting on the G string, 4 counts per bow, 2 bows on each string. So here's the G string. I'm going to continue adding counts, and I'm going to try to play with a nice, big, healthy forte sound. I'm going to keep my left hand here too. In case the string gets stuck, I can just kind of pluck it to get it going again. That's a useful trick. So we're going to do 6 counts now. Ready, and... And I keep going, 10 counts, 12 counts, 16 counts, and I then try to see how many counts I can do in one bow. And that's kind of a fun game, and I try to up that number. So let's just see, how many can I do? I'll do the D string. Ready? And so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, almost. Oh, okay, 13 and a half. So finding your limit and try to move that a bit ahead over time. I've got the block of marble now from which I'm going to carve my music, from which I'm going to carve my phrasing, my expressivity, just developing that core sound close to the bridge and and seeing how much sound you can get being as close to the bridge as possible, and one thing that's harder to convey in video, staying as relaxed as possible, which I've done a video about, I will link up to here. That is how I start my practice session pretty much every day, and even if I've only got a few minutes, if I do just that, it's gonna really get me in the right mindset for making interesting shapes with the bow. So that brings me to these 6 exercises that Jeff Braditich, wonderful bass professor at University of North Texas, he taught this to me decades ago at this point, but I find these to be super helpful, and I find this order to be helpful, at least for me. It starts off by doing what we typically don't do so well as string players, which is to start soft here and get loud here. Because of just the way the bow works and the arm works, our powerhouse is down here by the frog, and if we don't do anything really conscious, what happens is we tend to make a little bit of a diminuendo. So this first exercise evens that out. And you can do it with a metronome or without a metronome. You can also think about getting more sound by doing mostly weight, mostly speed, or a combination of speed and weight. That's what I'm going to do. And I put pianissimo and fortissimo here, really just how soft can you get and how loud can you get while still keeping core sound. So we'll start on the G string. I'll just start soft. Bottom out there a little bit. I put so much weight in. So I want to not use quite that much weight. Or maybe change the angle of my bow a little bit. There we go. There's a little bit of the G string whapping against the fingerboard. That will happen from time to time on the G string or the E string if you're angled a little bit too far over toward the C bouts right here. It also could mean that you need a setup, but my bass is set up pretty well, so I just need to make sure that when I'm on the G string, I'm playing pretty close to the D string. And then I go over the D string and do the same thing. Come back to it again. You can do it as many times as you like, and you can play around with the variables. Maybe this time I'll think more speed, so start slow, go fast, and then A string. My friend Dennis Whitaker talks about making the string go fast. So I'll watch the string right here and see how wide I can make it in the forte part. I'll usually get a sip of water, take just a little break, sort of let the nervous system reset. I really do think of these almost like going to the gym and doing strength training. Then I go into the second exercise, which is what we tend to naturally do. So I'll try to do it, but be as elegant as possible and just work on keeping control throughout. So we're starting fortissimo here. And then letting the sound go. Maybe just do it once per string, because this is the one that my arm tends to do the best. A string. Thinking open strings, that's all you need to do to develop expressive bowing. Well, it's a great way to develop a foundation, because once you get into the repertoire and you're practicing your solo music or your orchestra music, that can just fall completely off the radar for so many people. I know it does for me, and just making sure that you're thinking about sound and really understanding how the bow works and thinking about the big muscles and all that kind of stuff, which I've done videos about before, I'll link up to here. Because the more that you can take time thinking about simple motions that are not necessarily that simple when you really get down to it, and how that leads to beautiful tone, and like that quote I shared at the beginning of the video from Alex Hanna, always perform, never practice, just always thinking about making beautiful sound from the get-go and developing our expressivity. I find that these open string exercises, they're just exactly what I need to get in shape. Now exercise 3, we're ramping up from pianissimo to fortissimo and then dropping right back down. So that's going to be easier one direction than the other one. So we'll start here. And drop down. And I'm thinking about how am I applying that weight? And then I forth across all 4 strings, and there are many ways to vary these. I don't have the metronome on now, but I can. I could click 4 counts, I could make it more than 4 counts, I could make it 8 counts. I could do double stops as well. So you could start on the G string and then move to D and G. And that is a wonderful way to develop your tone. There are kind of 7 bow levels if you add the double stops in. There's G, G and D, D, D and A and E, and E, and I've done a whole video on double stops if you want to dig into that. And then the best way I find to vary these is to just try to push my boundaries all the time. Dare myself to get the most sound possible that still sounds good and that isn't causing me to press or causing the bass to buzz or something like that. So just developing my capacity to change dynamics and to have a full dynamic in as relaxed a way as possible. That's what these are all about. And then exercise 4, I find the up bow a heck of a lot more challenging than the down bow. The down bow just kind of does what the down bow does. So and it's like, how do I ramp to forte? I'll try that again. And then I put this big energy. And how organically can I make the note decrescendo? A lot of people find that they just decrescendo right away. How can you keep it a little bit more mathematical going down from either end? So exercise 4 is great, a little bit more challenging on the up bow for sure, but a great way to develop a great accent stroke, a great kind of beginning of the note stroke. And just thinking about grabbing the string, especially at the tip, how to do that without like squeezing in some sort of strange way. So it's a combination of weight, maybe a little rosin, and control. Exercise 5, we get into hairpins. So now we're starting pianissimo and we're going to get to fortissimo or just whatever your loudest dynamic can be. And I find that I really have to watch the bow speed as well as weight. Otherwise, I just run out of bow. So these can be great to practice with metronomes. I'm going to put my metronome back on for 5 and 6. So we're going to do 4 counts. I'm going to go 1, 2, really trying to have 2 be kind of where I do the most acceleration with the bow. Getting that buzz. I need to watch my angle. That is probably the second easiest after number 2, in my opinion, just because it's a gentle way to get into the swell. Just a wonderful way to think about controlling the bow and really going between the soft dynamic and the loud dynamic and making it as organic as possible. And then like, where is the height of the crescendo? What are you doing to get that? Then exercise 6, we've got this reverse hairpin. So we're starting big on either end and coming down. So I'm going to have a little more speed at the beginning and a little more speed at the end. It could be a bit trickier to control, but just a wonderful way to develop control. So here we go with number 6. I find this to be so helpful for stretching my boundaries and expanding my capacity and really learning how to be more expressive, how to take more risks, how to get bigger, how to get softer, how to really shape phrases. And if you want to learn more about that, check out this video we've got linked up. We'll see you there.